Mexico's GDP has never made much sense to me when you look at the numbers. Mexico has a published GDP of $2 trillion. The United States is now pushing 30 trillion. So when you look at the United States and Mexico, it's not even close. However, when you live in Mexico, what doesn't make sense is there's no way Mexico has a GDP of 2 trillion. Now, as I've talked to more people and I've done more research, I'm prepared to tell you that the unofficial GDP in Mexico is probably in the neighborhood of $8 to $10 trillion a year. Why do I think that, and how could that possibly be? Well, in the United States, they track every dollar very well. In Mexico, it's a little bit like the wild, wild west. You have a lot of money coming in through tourism that's all cash. You have a lot of mafia money that's coming in to supply the US with all the drugs. That doesn't hit that GDP number. Let's say the mafia brings in $100 billion a year or something like that. Then that gets added to the economy and that money gets spent over and over again. The same thing with tourism. So the average person is probably spending close to $2,000 or $3,000 on an average vacation to Mexico. And when you look at the amount of income that's being reported off of that, it basically reflects maybe $200 or $300 per tourist. And that cash just keeps circulating through the economy. So when you add all these together and you look out at what is happening, you look at the cars on the highway, you look at the people that are buying properties, it doesn't add up to a $2 trillion GDP. It adds up more to like a $6 to $8 trillion GDP, possibly higher. I think the stereotype of Mexicans being very poor is a very bad stereotype, a very inaccurate stereotype. There are very poor people in Mexico. I'm not trying to say there's not, but there's far more millionaires here in Mexico than there are anywhere else in the world that I've ever lived, including the United States.